Glencairn was built between 1928 and 1939 by craftspeople hired by Raymond and Mildred Pitcairn. Although it looks like a medieval castle, this actually was once the private home of the Pitcairns and their 9 children. Today, as a museum, we have art and religious objects from all around the world in the Glencairn collection. Now, stained glass windows have been made all around the world and all throughout history, but in this series specifically, we're going to be focusing on stained glass windows made in medieval Europe, a time period that lasted from about 500 to 1500 CE. Right now, I am standing in a room in Glencairn called the Great Hall. And while there is a lot to discover in this room, we're going to be focusing on the stained glass windows set into the walls of this room. Imagine for a second that we had just walked into a medieval church. It's dark inside, because remember, there's no electricity. Maybe there's a few candles or lanterns to light the space. But the light filtering through the stained glass windows in red and blue, green, yellow, and purple, stepping into that space would be like stepping into a whole different world. These stained glass windows create a heavenly atmosphere in the spaces where they're set, and would have helped to remind medieval people about the biblical stories and lessons that they would have heard during worship services. Stained glass is a material that's used to highlight and celebrate important moments and important people. It takes a long time and a lot of effort to create stained glass windows, and so the artists creating them would have had to think hard about what was important to them and also to the people who they were making the windows for and who would be seeing them. Let's head down to our medieval gallery to take a look at some of the stained glass windows down there. In this window, we can see Jesus, and he has 2 halos. The first is around his head, and that's called a nimbus. And the second is around his entire body, and that's called a mandorla. In his hand, you might be able to see a circle of glass that was designed to represent a medieval European view of a world map. Around the edges of the window, there are 4 winged creatures: a bull, a lion, an eagle, and a person. This is a celebratory scene. It's taken from the book of Revelation, which comes right at the end of the Christian Bible. To medieval viewers, seeing this window might have given them a sense of triumph or a feeling of justice, or maybe even a feeling of hope. In this window, we see part of the story of Saint Martin, who became a saint because of his humility. As a young man, Martin joined the Roman army and served as a soldier. One day, as he was approaching the French city of Amiens, he saw a poorly clothed beggar shivering outside the gates to the city. Feeling compassion for the beggar, he drew his sword and cut his cloak into 2 pieces, giving 1 piece to the beggar. Later that night, he dreamed that he saw Christ wearing the cloak that he had given to the beggar, and taking this as a sign, he left the army, became a Christian, and devoted his life to missionary work. Later, after he had died, the Catholic Church declared Martin a saint because of his humility. This window shows us the moment of Martin's good deed. This window shows us a person at their best, at the point in their life most worth celebrating and commemorating. Perhaps to medieval viewers, this window would have inspired them to practice humility and compassion in their own lives. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn about how stained glass is a material used to show celebrations. If you want to learn more about stained glass in medieval Europe, you can check out the other videos that we have in this series about virtues in stained glass, divine beings in stained glass, and the process of making stained glass. If you want to learn more about Glencairn Museum, you can visit glencairnmuseum.org.